You know, we do have an obligation to protect her too.
Well, and she's already
You know.
told me what she's
Yeah.
told me, so
Yeah.
I know she won't have a problem.
Yeah.
I understand that it's over TikTok,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I don't understand what the problem with the TikTok is, so if you could explain
I
that
am
to
more than happy to explain it because I couldn't even finish watching it. That's how appalled I was.
And we were watching the same TikTok, the
I
one where they're
believe so.
pulling. Okay.
Absolutely.
So please, yes.
Yeah. So, and we explained this to the captains. I think it is an extremely poor show of sportsmanship to stand on your opponent's field and pretend like you're so much better than them that you can randomly draw positions out of a hat and still win. And even if that's not what the intent was, the community member that said, hey, I just saw this, that's how they took it. And honestly, at that point, it's a full stop. My expectation is whether that was something that the kids talked about and said, hey, let's do this, it'll be fun and silly or something. My expectation is that the coach, the person leading the program, would say, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but that's really in poor taste. And that's not who we are as sportsmen, right? Especially, and it's not so much especially because it's the Indian school, but that school has helped us out in so many ways for so long. I mean, when I got here in 2013, the only reason we had a track program is because of what they did for us.
Okay.
Their coaches, their staff, their athletic director. When our basketball programs had no gym, and like the very, very first basketball game we ever had as a school was at the Indian school.
That's awesome.
So it just, for me, that was just a very, very poor showing of who we are and not representative of who we want to be as an athletic program.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can Litzy be there to train the goalies?
Can Litzy be there to what?
Train the goalies?
Train?
Yeah. Well, we need to warm up the goalies for the game.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, I mean, we talked about it this morning, and we were both of like mind. Like, this just, you know, there's only 4 games left, you know, but what does it say about us if we're like, well, we'll just let this slide for 4 games? So, you know, we felt like we had to make the hard call.
I understand where you're coming from. However, I feel like, one, depending on who the person was who had an issue with it, I feel like there are issues with a lot of different sports across the board here. I myself have come in and I talked with Vanessa last year about comments that were made to my daughter as well as other girls from basketball coaches, and nothing was done. And so for one comment to be made and not be investigated or let discussion from the parents or the players, that seems a little harsh. And yes, I was with Vilma when she called because she was advised to contact the coach for the Indian school. So she did. She had no problem with the video. It was not intended to be posted. And I mean, it's a trend. Nobody thought anything of it. The way it's being taken out of context is not okay. They did it for this game because this is the 3rd time that we've played them this season. When have we ever played one school more than twice? I mean, there's just so many factors as to why it was done that have nothing to do with why you guys are saying that the video was posted. And I don't think that that's okay. And obviously the girls don't think that's okay. I've talked to a lot of the parents and they don't think that it's okay. And just know that you guys are going to have a lot of backlash from the parents and
We figured.
and the girls. And they're kind of going along with you guys right now because they're in shock. But, you know, I just really want you guys to think about like what you're doing to these girls because
Listen,
it is
I
4
don't
of their.
think we're doing anything to these girls.
Did you see their
Of
reactions?
course I did. But that's a lesson in life. And again,
But you guys are showing them. You guys don't
we're
care about
showing-
them.
No,
Yes.
no, absolutely opposite.
That's how they're taking it, though.
Well, then they will have some time to sit with those feelings and think through them. And as parents, you can be a part of that process, or you can be contrary to that process. But the reality is, you know, I saw something that unequivocally is inappropriate.
Well, and I feel like you should watch the entirety of the video because I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
Well,
Nobody said anything negative. There was no girls of theirs in the background. There was no,
understand.
unless you knew that it was on the Indian school, you wouldn't know what school it is.
Listen, you would know what school it is based on the field that you're on and based on the timestamp of the video. Anyone would just have to look at a schedule and go, oh, that's where they are. That's the game they're playing. And again, whether it's a trend on TikTok or not, I expect the adult in the room to be the adult in the room. And our adult in the room didn't measure up.
Okay.
Okay? And again, without sharing things that I don't think would be appropriate for me to share, this wasn't the only thing. This was not the only issue we had this season. So really it was a culmination and a final straw. And I understand, you know, parents are going to be upset. I understand that a lot of players, especially players with very close connections with the coach, are going to be upset. But at the end of the day, the right thing to do is remind everyone what athletics is about. And I think this was a moment where we lost sight of what athletics is about and why we have athletics. It's not built into our charter
Well, and I
for
mean,
us to have
it's
sports.
just it's crazy because, and I'm not the only one who has said it because I've been getting texts all morning from parents. Just across the board, everything that's gone on with his school and senior trips and drinking, and knowing that 2 staff members that partaked in that are still working when one got fired. Just the whole Zozobra thing that happened and that person is still here. Like, there's so many things that aren't adding up across the board as fairness. If we're going to be harsh on one person, why isn't it being across the board? Same with the coaches for basketball. Like I said, things that were said to the girls last year that weren't dealt with, not okay. I don't know. I feel like, so then do we come forward with, are we going to take Anthony and Joe Ray? Are we going to be as aggressive to them for telling the girls that they're out of shape and that soccer is not a sport and whatever other offensive things that they've told the girls?
So, yeah, if there's a concern, you most absolutely can raise them.
And I did raise it last year, and
Okay.
it went on deaf ears. Instead, Vanessa got completely, she just started yelling at me, and I left.
Okay.
I mean,
Sorry, not something I was aware of. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. I just wanted to know, from a parent standpoint, this needs to be addressed with the rest of the parents, because you can't just tell the girls one thing and not address it with the parents. I think
Okay.
there needs to be transparency before the game.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. So, who's riding on the bus with the girls today? Just you?
Mhm.
I thought the rule was that there has to be a female present.
I'll check the handbook, but I don't think it specifies that the coach has to be the same gender.
As far as I knew from Eddie, he always had to have, which is what he did, would have the AD, or at one point he had that one teacher helping because they needed to have both. Okay, yeah. I guess we can only go off of Vilma's word then, since you don't want to tell us reasoning. And I'll just,
Oh, I thought I was pretty clear.
well,
about reason.
the one video, but you don't want to state the other reasons.
Yeah, no, I don't think those are, you know, those get more into other, yeah.
Okay.
What I explained to you is what I explained to the captains. So, you know, I'm not going to create a such situation where, you know, the captains heard one thing and you heard something else. So, yeah, the other stuff we didn't bring up with them either.
Right. Okay.